Okay. And perfect. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the sixth and final webinar in our webinar series called the Millionaires Club. This is actually it's the fifth out of six. We had to miss last week because of an unprecedented historic winter storm that totally disrupted power, internet, and all of those types of things. And so we had to cancel last week. So this week we're going to have a super webinar where we combine the week 5 content with the week 6 content. Before we move into the session, from the bottom of my heart, I hope you're all safe, warm, fed, and I want to tip my hat to you and commend you for all of the problem solving that I know you did last week with your families to overcome any power outages, any water outages, cold temperatures, no internet, grocery stores running out of food. What an exercise in resilience, grit, and problem solving. And so I want to commend all of you for working with your families and your community to make it through last week. And thank goodness that we're all back here together today to wrap up the Millionaires Club. So let's dive in and get started. And there we go. Let's recap what we've done so far. Remember, in week 1, we talked about the first step in potentially becoming a millionaire is to get a really good job and earn some money. And we talked about the correlation between your education and how much money you can expect to make. There's a saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. So I encourage you to always remember after this whole webinar series is over, that it all starts with earning money and having the education to support that. Your Gear Up facilitator and your high school counselors can help you get the right high school education and enroll in the correct post-secondary education to get that career that you're looking for. Then in week 2, we talked about the importance of prioritizing saving and investing first. And I told you, this is the big secret. A lot of people budget their money and then they go, okay, I think I'll save what's left over. And what happens is those people then find themselves in their 30s or 40s or 50s and they haven't saved anything and they haven't invested anything because they put it to last. So we talked about the value of setting up your savings and in your investing account first and making that a priority. And then we talked about securing housing. We looked at the Zumper rent website. We found some apartments in the town you want to live in, and we talked about all of the budget items that go with housing. And then when we left off, in fact, you'll remember Jonathan, he was with us before. We talked about transportation and food, and we kind of gave you a little bit of a heads up that sometimes we fantasize about things that we want and we think that they're so important when really we just need to focus on what we need. And so we talked about your transportation, getting a car, budgeting for food, cooking versus dining out. But we did it from the mindset of, do I want it or do I need it? So what we're going to do is we're going to now continue on and we're going to combine the content from week 5 with week 6. We're going to combine it together and we're going to talk about how to strategize the rest of your budget. And so what I like to do when I'm strategizing the rest of my budget is I like to think of it from the point of view, is money coming into my pocket or is money going out of my pocket? It's just that simple. Am I paying them or are they paying me? And you may be thinking, what is she talking about? Well, I have brought some experts to give you some of their expertise and their advice. I want to encourage you as our panelists are speaking to please use the Q&A button to direct questions to our panelists. You see a full slate here of beautiful faces. And I want to now introduce you to the South Texas Literacy Coalition team. And I want you to notice that above all of their faces, I put exploding fireworks. And here's why I did this. Every week leading up until now, we've had one speaker, maybe two. And now count how many faces you see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is like the grand finale at a fireworks display. Okay, think about the 4th of July or New Year's when they pop off one firework and then another firework and then another firework. And then at the very end, there's all these crazy fireworks going all over the place. Well, today I have brought the grand finale. Okay, this is the culminating big finish with the fireworks. So what I'm going to do now, let me show you one more slide before I turn it over. Please always remember that if you need to go back and review the videos, or if you and your friends need to see the videos on your own time, on demand, everything is housed on our Google site, the Millionaires Club /home. And so your sponsors all have this site as well as you. So everything is always available on demand on your time. But now let me turn it over. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to the South Texas Literacy Coalition. And can everyone, STLC members, imagine big round of applause as everyone welcomes you to the stage. Thunderous applause as you all come up. All right.
All righty, I'll take it from here. Thank you, Angela. So hello, everybody. My name is Jonathan Vasquez. I'm here with the South Texas Literacy Coalition team, and I'm going to introduce you to everybody. But before I do that, one of the ideas that I wanted to relate to everybody, especially the students that are present with you today, the idea behind financial literacy is often a lot different than most topics that you're going to cover throughout your education. One of the things and the mindsets you have to go into financial literacy is often habitual. It's a habit more than some sort of equation or solution. So think about it like this. You're taught in math, 2 + 2 is 4, right? 2 + 2 is 4. When you go home at the end of the day, when you're out in your life, you go with you knowing that 2 + 2 is 4. You go to the grocery store, you got 2 apples, you got 2 oranges, you have a total of 4 fruit that you took home with you that day, right? So it's something you carry with you. On the other hand, financial literacy, although there is that solution component, it's often habitual, habit. So always go into this with the mindset that we're teaching you this information and we don't expect you to implement it and force it overnight, because it's not that simple. It's something that you have to be constantly thinking about throughout your life, throughout your days, to develop those positive habits that lead to better financial decisions. So with that being said, I want to introduce you to the team that's going to be talking to you today, the South Texas Literacy Coalition team. And I'm going to introduce them to you in a specific order. For this reason alone, is that every single one of them are in a different stage or in a different time in their education career. So I'll start off with Miss Mireya Puga. Mireya, go ahead and raise your hand for me so that we know who we're talking about. This is Miss Mireya Puga. She's actually a high school senior at Edinburgh High School. She's a senior, and she already has her associate's degree from South Texas College. Next in line is Mr. Leandro Alanis. Leo, that's here, Mr. Leo right there. Leandro Alanis is a recent high school graduate. He graduated last year and is now on his 2nd semester at UTRGV. He already holds his associate's degree as well, and he's on his 2nd semester. So we see that we're progressing down the educational timeline. Next up, we have Miss Bianca Garcia. Bianca, if you want to raise your hand, that's Miss Bianca Garcia. She is a recent college grad as well. She graduated from Texas A&M University in College Station with her bachelor's degree in communications. Yes, communications. So she's a recent college grad. She recently graduated in December with her bachelor's degree. Next along the line, we have Miss Valeria Chong. Valeria, can you raise your hand for us? Valeria Chong. Valeria Chong holds her undergrad, her bachelor's degree from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. And she is a recent graduate student. So she just entered the graduate program, which is her master's degree at UTRGV. And this is her 1st semester in the program. And last but not least, we have Mr. Frank Lopez. Frank, can you raise your hand for me? That's Frank right there. So Frank is a graduate from UTRGV along with his undergrad. He's a recent graduate grad, I guess you would say. He has his master's degree that he obtained in December as well. So the great thing about everybody here is every one of these individuals at some point or another, before they were in college, obtained college credit while they were in high school, which led them to where they're at today. Frank Lopez has his master's degree. Frank Lopez just turned 22 years old in November. Just turned 22. So at the early age of 22 years old, he already has his master's degree and he's on his way to entering the doctoral program, hopefully sometime this year. And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking over the idea of financial opportunities in the form of savings, in the form of not having to spend money and obtaining college credits early on in life to where you can begin making money and begin your career at an earlier stage than you would have if you began earning your college credit after you graduated high school. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to the STLC team. Take it away from here.
Okay, hi everybody. Just how Jonathan had mentioned, we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about several different ways that you guys can save money right now that you guys are in high school. One of the main things, I guess you can say, is a common thing amongst us 5 that are here is that we all took some sort of advanced credits when we were in high school that gained us some sort of college hours or college credit. I was a part of the early college program at Edinburgh High, and I graduated with my associate's degree, like Mireya, not as early as Mireya, but I graduated with my associate's degree about 3 weeks before I walked across the stage and received my high school diploma, and Leo as well, and down the line. One of the main things that Jonathan mentioned, and one of the main purposes of this program was for us to be able to show you guys what you guys can save by being active early on right now when you guys are in high school. For those of you that may not know, tuition is very, very expensive. If you look into, for example, my associate's degree, what I gained when I was in high school, tuition for about 2 years, associate's degree is 2 years, roughly is about $20,000 in tuition for 2 years at a community college. That's just tuition. Then you can add roughly about $4,000 in books and materials that you need for all of your different classes. And then $2,000 roughly for transportation, for coming and going to campus and home, having to go to the library to study and stuff like that. So roughly, I saved myself and my family roughly about $26,000 in college by getting my associate's degree when I was in high school. $26,000. That's a really decent new car. That's a brand new 2021 Honda Civic. So that's something that you could save for by going by taking college credits when you are in high school. So like Jonathan mentioned, I graduated with my associate's degree. I got my bachelor's degree from UTRGV in December 2019. Took a year off, went ahead and worked, which is how I ended up here at the South Texas Literacy Coalition. And now I'm working on my master's degree. I go to night school currently, and looking into graduating with my master's degree in 2021, next year, God willing. And so that's a little bit about me. That's my experience with dual enrollment courses. And just so you guys know, I just went ahead and put it out there. Dual enrollment credits do transfer to any public school in Texas. So as long as you go to a public university in Texas, there are some private universities that accept it, but for sure, if you go to a public school in Texas, your credits will transfer, which is something that you can ask your counselor a little bit more about once you get closer to applying for your universities and start worrying about transferring credits. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Leo.
Hello, everyone. So I'd first like to start off by saying that when I was in high school, I actually got to listen into a presentation like this. And I didn't realize how much tuition cost until I started my first semester at UTRGV as an incoming junior. Like John mentioned, I was able to obtain my associates in high school. So I was an entering junior at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. And like I said, I didn't realize how much tuition was until I got that student bill. And I looked at that student bill and I was like, wow, like I wouldn't say I took advantage of like the courses, but I wanted to mention that you're able to obtain so many credits in high school. And I'm telling you right now, you should take the opportunity right now, just because when I saw that bill, I was like, wow, I really did save so much money. I was able to obtain 60 hours, a whole associate. So yeah, that's me. That's more about me. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Mireya.
Okay, hi guys. So, like John mentioned, I am a senior in high school, and crazy to think, but yes, I do have my associates. And one thing that I do want to mention, just like Leo, it's so easy to kind of forget like how much tuition is. And sometimes I think like, oh my gosh, I have $20 in my purse, and it's like compared to $26,000, $20 is nothing. So just imagine having to dish out $26,000 in 2 years. It's like crazy, especially with high school students. It's like, do we even have a job? Like we barely have time for school, extracurricular. So I didn't have a job, so I wasn't able to dish out those $26,000, much less my parents, because it's like they're trying to work for us. So I really do recommend taking dual enrollment classes because um, the best thing about this is it's totally free. Like who doesn't like that word? I love it. So this is $26,000 that you are saving not only yourself but your parents. They are going to thank you so much for taking these classes and just getting a head start into college, but you are ultimately saving them so much money. And not only money, but you're saving yourself so much time as well. I know that while taking my college credits, they transferred to high school. So it's like, why not just do that 2-in-1? And I really just exaggerate that $26,000 because it's so much money. It's like, just take it. It's free. So why not? But other than that, I really enjoy taking those classes, and it's 2 years that you get to save. And again, it's so much money. So just take advantage of it, and you'll be fine. So now I'll give it to Bianca.
Thank you, Mireya. Hi, everyone. My name is Bianca Garcia. I work at the South Texas Literacy Coalition as an advocacy and sustainability associate. Like John mentioned earlier, I did graduate this past December with my bachelor's in communication from Texas A&M University. And I just want to talk to you a little bit more about my experience with the dual credit courses that I took at STC during my time in high school. I was a part of the early college program at Economides High School, and I enjoyed that program a lot because it really, like Mireya says, opens your eyes to how much you, not only the experience, but how much you gain from it, not only in time and the education, but in the money that you save. And like Mireya said, I completely agree with her in that taking these courses does save you a ton of money. It does save your parents a ton of money, which is always great because as you get older, you realize the value of money. And I say that because my parents always stressed the idea that, you know, time is money, and also, but just money is a commodity that we all use every day, and things are expensive. And so when they told me that at 17 years old or at 14 years old, when I first entered high school and I got presented with the opportunity to take college courses, you know, I really didn't realize I would say the magnitude of that. And I just kind of took it with a grain of salt, like I'll take these courses. However, when I entered college and I started working and I started taking college courses in college, I realized that these courses truly did pay off in the long run. And they do save you a lot of time and money. They do save you, and they do save you that money that, you know, you could apply to something else. And the time that I got taken off of my college years, I would say, I graduated in 3.5 years. And so I basically bypassed, I graduated a little bit later due to some credit hours that I had to take for my major. However, had I not needed to take those, I would have graduated in 3 years. However, I completely bypassed my freshman year of college because of the courses I took. I think I graduated high school with about 48 college credit hours, and about 45 of those transferred to Texas A&M University. So that completely took away my freshman year, and I got to enter college as a sophomore. But the time and money that you save is beyond. It is extremely, extremely important that you take advantage of the opportunities that you are presented with. And even though it might be scary, these are college courses, I guarantee that you will completely enjoy them, not only the experience, but you will see that it does pay off in the long run. And now I'm going to pass it on to Frank.
Thank you, Bianca. Hi, guys. My name is Frank Lopez. Just like John said, I do have my master's. I just turned 22 actually in November. But I'm going to show you guys another side of the coin. Just as my teammates, they took dual enrollment, I did not. I did AP classes, which is advanced placement. One of the biggest differences between dual enrollment and AP is that you have to take a class just like your high school classes. They're a bit more challenging and they stress a lot. You must pass the exam. So you must get a 3 or higher to be able to get college credit. I passed 6 of those exams and I entered as a junior at UTRGV. So one of the exams can grant you up to 3 or 4 classes in college. And also AP can translate nationally. So I'm talking to those who want to leave out of state. You can go to any state and be able to get those credits, start as a sophomore or a junior, and once again, save a lot of money. But also I want to stress that once you become a junior, once you become in the higher end of the universities, you're able to take those classes that you're really looking forward to taking, such as forensics, if you're into criminal justice, such as higher end biology, and so on. Now, let me pass it on to Chong.
That's awesome. I also had a few experiences with AP courses. I was able to pass, I didn't pass 6, I passed 1, which was still good. It was still, I passed my foreign language, which was my Spanish AP exam. So that was a class that I didn't have to take when I went into college at UTRGV. I didn't have to take a history class, didn't have to take a math class or anything like that because I had already taken it in high school. So just like Frank mentioned, once you go into your university, once you graduate from high school, you're able to take the nitty-gritty courses that are towards your major. For me, I was physical therapy, exercise sciences. I was getting into testing and prescription classes. I was getting into the classes that were the fun classes of my major. So that's a big advantage with taking dual enrollment courses. One of the things that we also wanted to go ahead and mention, a different way that you guys can save time and money, is scholarships. Scholarships. When you are in high school, there are an abundance of different opportunities that you guys can have to be able to gain extra money for you guys to have once you get out of high school and matriculate to your post-secondary education. For me, I was involved in NHS, Key Club, Avid, a bunch of different extracurricular activities that were extracurriculars that I took on top of dual enrollment and on top of my high school schedule. 1, because I enjoyed it. 2, because I used to be in sports, but had an injury and wasn't able to be in sports anymore. So NHS and Key Club and community service organizations were my way of hanging out with my friends, but still making a difference in my community. And look, now I'm working at the nonprofit that I used to volunteer at. So now I'm a staff member here. And apart from that, many other different scholarship opportunities that are out there, Vamos, STARS, Hispanic Scholarship Fund, many others. And just like how I got scholarships when I was in high school, Leo as well. I believe he got NHS, Key Club, and a few others. Mireya is in the process of applying for those. We are on top of her, making sure that she's getting to the deadlines to those because we want her to take advantage of it. I know, Bianca, you did a bunch of FFA. You were involved in agriculture when you're in high school. So look at the opportunities. You guys are early on in your high school experience. So look at the extracurricular programs that are available to you. I know, Frank, you want to tell them about Frank's scholarship experience is very, very different than ours. I with the amount of money that I obtained from all of the long list of scholarships that I got, my whole entire first year, which was in UTRGV, which was my quote unquote junior year, because I finished 2 years when I was in high school. My junior year in college at UTRGV was completely paid for with all the scholarships that I obtained when I was in high school. I know Bianca as well, her sophomore year was completely paid for at Texas A&M because of all the scholarships that she got. But Frank's is a little bit, he's our unique ball here at the office. So Frank, you want to tell him about your experience with scholarships?
Yes, so just as Chung mentioned, yes, I'm pretty unique. I was also involved in a lot of clubs and a lot of societies, but I took the athlete route. I did 2 years and a half of track and field in high school. I was handpicked by a lot of colleges, but UTRGV was a winner in this case. They offered me a full ride, room and board, tuition and fees paid for, and they also give you a stipend to spend because they don't want you working. They want you focusing on sports, and that's about it. So all of my years of college were paid for. So talking to my athletes, everyone who's wanting to play sports, it's possible. I was handpicked by colleges outside of Texas as well. But at the end, I decided to stay here in UTRGV. And we're talking about more than $26,000 that they paid for.
That's insane. So his whole entire undergraduate experience, his whole undergraduate education was completely paid for. First half was paid for because of, in his case, AP credits that he took in high school. And then the second half was because he hustled when he was in sports and he was able to get scouted by UTRGV and he was able to get that athletic scholarship, which just how you hear Frank's story. This is something that everybody that is here is able to do. This is something that everybody can obtain. This is a goal that we encourage you guys to reach for. Of course, if you don't make it all the way to a full ride, you're still going to land somewhere near. You're still going to be able to gain something from going the extra mile and from hustling to try to get to this potential goal. So that's mainly something that we wanted to express to you guys. This is us, this is who we are, this is our experiences, and we wanted to open up the floor to any questions. Not sure if we have time for questions or not, to see if anybody wants to ask us anything.
So we definitely do have a couple of questions here, and we definitely have time. There's 2 questions in the queue right now, and so students, please remember you can use your Q&A button to pose any question to any of the panelists. The first question that's already here is, Bianca, you left and you went away to Texas A&M. Would
Yes.
you recommend for students to look into moving away to college, even though there are additional expenses like housing involved? Why or why not?
I would definitely say that I think situation is different. Financial standing, circumstances, they're all different. In my case, I was really determined to challenge myself and move away from home to see and to grow and mature in a way that I felt I wouldn't have done if I stayed at home. And so I left, and I knew that there were additional costs involved. I did live in the dorms for 2 years, and then my final year and a half, I lived in an apartment. And about tuition is that it involves a lot of different factors. So it's not only the classes, it's the room and board. If you have a meal plan, the facilities on campus do charge you a fee. And so the tuition includes that. And so there are a lot of different factors that you need to consider if you are thinking of leaving the Valley and going to school, let's say up north like I did. And I definitely just try to, I talked it over with my parents and let them know that this is what I wanted to do. This is what I felt that I wanted and needed to do for myself. And, we worked it out in the way that we understood that these were the expenses, and scholarships plays a big role in helping you pay for some of those costs. But you do have to be aware that it is going to be a little different. Each college has a different tuition rate. None of them are the same as each other. And so one might cost $1,000 more than another college. You just have to be aware of that, do your research. I would definitely encourage you to look at different colleges and see what appeals to you, but also realize that there are a lot of different factors, and you could always transfer to a different college in the future. That's always a possibility. You don't have to leave right away. And so it's really just looking at different factors, realizing that it does cost money and that you're going to have to plan, which is why I encourage you to take these college credit courses, because it does pay off in the long run. The time and money that you will save will definitely benefit you in the long run.
Excellent. Okay, here's a question that's not directed to any specific panelist, so I'm going to open this up to all of you. And it's being posed by someone who's logged in as anonymous. And so anonymous, if you're out there, if the panelists want to follow up, be ready to chime in on the Q&A. But here's the question. Did you get into the program that you 6 are in through high school? And anyone wants to unmute and jump on that question. I see Mireya reaching for her unmute button.
I can answer. So I guess with me, I started community service since my freshman year. And with the different clubs that I joined, I hope they're talking about program as an STLC, right?
Okay. See, that's the follow-up. So for the person anonymous, that was a question I had as well. Do you mean program being the AP courses or the dual courses, the job you're in now with STLC, or your program of study in college? It can be any of those. So go ahead and address the one that you're addressing now. Yes, that they are talking about STLC. Okay. Awesome. Great.
So along with Valeria and Leo, actually, so we were in National Honor Society and Key Club, and with EHS, we were able to kind of go out into our community and serve our community. And since my freshman year, I've actually been volunteering at STLC, and I believe it was my junior year that I got offered an internship, and I was like, yeah, sure. And so I became an intern, a summer intern, and since then, I actually stayed. So I didn't stop like in the summer. I was like, I kind of like it here. Like it's pretty good. It's really good experience, not only for me as a high schooler, but in the future and like my workspace in the future. So it's been really great. And yes, it did start in high school. So I definitely encourage all of you all to join extracurricular activities, because not only will they open up a lot of scholarship opportunities like they have for all of us, but they will definitely open up a lot of career-wise opportunities. Like I know Valeria and possibly Bianca, but also Frank, they went into that program that John is like in college, and it's like they all work together. So it's pretty cool. I see them all work together, and it's just super amazing to see everyone just work together. And it's like, it's been forever. Like I've known John, I feel like it's forever, but because of volunteering here and then getting the internship and then I guess being like a staff member now. So it's been great.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I had a different experience from Chong, Valeria, Mireya, and Leo. I actually joined the STLC when I was going to be a senior in college, so my final senior year of college. I was kind of concerned in college of what I was going to do. I knew that I wanted to be working in nonprofits. That was really what I wanted to do as a career in life. I think the struggle was applying for the internships and trying to figure out, which nonprofit and going through the internship process and interview process and application process until finally I met a wonderful person who introduced me to John here at the STLC and put me in contact with him and let me know about the organization and what they advocate for. And along with Mireya, I got to intern this past summer as a summer intern for the STLC. And I'm barely realizing this now. However, when I was in my final semester of college, I was concerned because we're in the middle of a pandemic and I didn't know what I was going to do in terms of a career or job once I left college. So I was, looking for jobs, applying, and I was getting very nervous because I wanted to find a job right as soon as I got out of college. And it was very difficult because we are in like I said, a pandemic. Until I got a phone call from John, and he offered me a position here at the STLC and asked if I wanted to fill it. And I'm realizing that had I not graduated a semester early, I wouldn't have even been able to be in this role because I needed to be here locally. And I also realized that that graduating early opened the door for me, and interning opened the door for me to be able to accept and fulfill this position. And I'm just barely realizing that graduating early helped me a lot in being able to accept this position. And so it was all because of the college classes I had taken. It completely gave me a year off and allowed me to enter the workforce earlier. And so I think that's a great, if that's not something that encourages you, I definitely encourage you to just, take the opportunities as they're handed to you.
Great answers. There's one final question, and then we're going to be flipping into our budget and finalizing that. So interns, there is another question regarding scholarships. What expenses can they pay for, and how soon should students start applying for scholarships?
So scholarships, depending on the way the scholarship gets paid out, sometimes scholarships gets paid to the individual. If it gets paid to the individual, which is rare, but it can happen, if the check is made out to the student, then the student can use that as they please. But usually, most cases, they get paid out to the university. That's why a lot of times I ask you what university you're going to be attending, and oftentimes we even ask you for proof of your first semester schedule before they pay out that scholarship to the university. So in that case, the check or the amount of the scholarship will show up in your student account at your university. Once that money is available to you in your student account at your designated university, you're able to use that for university expenses, which is tuition, room and board if you're staying in a dorm, fees like recreation fees, meal plan fees, parking stickers. You can even use it to either rent or buy a textbook from the university's bookstore. So any expense that's under the university's expenses, those are expenses that your scholarships that are paid out to your institution can cover. How early you should apply? Yesterday. There are a lot of scholarships that are available to apply. I remember I applied for a scholarship when I was an 8th grader in middle school. I applied for a scholarship when I was an 8th grader. There are many different scholarships. Of course, there's some that do have specific requirements that say you must be a high school senior to apply, or you must be an NHS member to apply for these scholarships. But there are scholarships that are available to even before you're in high school. So that's why I say yesterday you should just start applying. So I know for a fact, I believe these students are going to be sophomores, correct? Sophomores in high school. There is a sophomore of the year. That's one that I know personally that I got. And I think Mireya, you didn't get it? Okay, you applied. That's the point. You applied. I got sophomore of the year when I was a sophomore in high school. Of course, I didn't see the money until after I graduated from high school and went into post-education and went into my university, but I applied for it and I got it when I was a sophomore. Like I said, I got a scholarship when I was an 8th grader when I was in middle school at Barrientos Middle School. So it's all about doing your research and just seeing what's you can literally look up what scholarships can I apply for as a sophomore in high school, and you'll get a big old list of stuff that you can apply for. There are some local and there are international scholarships that you can apply for. Something that I recommend, that's something that a tool that I use is FastWeb. FastWeb is a platform where you're able to put in your information as far as where you are locally, what you're planning to be your major, how old you are right now, as like what if you're a sophomore, junior, or senior in high school, and then it will email you constantly scholarships that you qualify for that you can apply to currently at that time. And another one also that I know of, it's an app which is a little bit nicer, Scholly. Scholly is a really good app that also shows you about scholarships that you can apply for currently. So those are two good tools that you can use to start applying for scholarships ASAP.
Excellent advice, Valeria. And students, please remember that you do have your Gear Up High School playbook with links to all kinds of search engines. And so your sponsors and your Gear Up facilitator have hopefully given you the link already. If not, they will be after this webinar, to the Gear Up High School playbook. There is a page on financial aid, and there are, I believe, 9 live links to those scholarship search engines that Valeria is talking about. And so highly recommend that you go to those search engines, create accounts, and start researching what scholarships you're available for. So what I'm going to do now, first of all, panelists, I hope you can hear the thunderous roar of applause of all of our attendees, thanking you for your time. I'm going to be screen sharing now the budget that we're working on. Panelists, if you're available, I'd love for you to stay on if any more questions come in or if anything relates to the budget. I understand if you have something else that you have to do, but if you're available to stay on, you are certainly welcome to stay with us and share your expertise. And so students, what we're going to do now is talk about how to fill in the final components of your salary-based budget. And remember, we're covering now both week 5 and week 6. So what I've done, hopefully I'm successfully screen sharing, I have side by side our Millionaires Club website. And adjacent to that, I have my salary-based budget that I've been providing to you as a sample. And so remember, in week 1, we did the whole part about income. I had the dream job of being a middle school teacher, and we did steps 2 through 4 in week 1. Then remember, we prioritized savings. That's the secret. Pay yourself first. This was the first thing we did, was to earmark money for savings and retirement. Then we created our budget. We looked at our living expenses, we looked at our transportation expenses, and we looked at the cost of our food. So we're going to finalize our budget now with health, education, and your discretionary spending. So I'm on week 5. And so what we're going to do for steps 22, 23, and 24, these are national averages. Costs can be higher or lower depending on circumstances, but for the purpose of this simulation, we're going to budget in national averages. Health insurance is typically $440 a month. Dental insurance is typically $30. And I'm going to be real honest, full disclosure. Some years I get eye insurance. Yes, I'm wearing glasses. Some years I don't. This year I did get the eye insurance. Sometimes people opt out of the eye insurance. So this is the cost of insuring your health. And I think the biggest takeaway here is to remember that you can have the best budget in the world. You can be on a great path to building wealth and building financial security. And if your health is not attended to, then it's not going to be as great of an experience as it could have been. So please remember to ensure your health and to take care of your health. And I'm going to go down to step 25. And again, ladies, I know this can vary. We're going to enter the costs of haircuts. And again, these are our national averages. Women typically pay $44 a month on their hair. Yes, I know some of you pay a lot more. And I know some of you probably get your mom to cut your hair, or your cousin, or a good friend who's very skilled with the scissors. Men typically pay $28. And I know some of you are probably out there going, I pay, some of you may be thinking, I pay a lot more or I pay a lot less. If you want to put in the number that you actually pay, that's great. But I'm going to go ahead and put in $44 a month. Remember, I'm pretending that I'm 22, okay? Truthfully, I pay a lot more because I color my hair, just keeping it real. But when I was 22, here's what I did. There was a local cosmetology school in my town, and you could get your hair cut there for $5. And then students that were studying cosmetology needed people to practice on. So when I was in college and I was on a very tight budget, I found a local cosmetology school that if you would agree to let them practice on you, all you had to do is pay $5. So remember at the very beginning of this webinar when I said, okay, let's strategize. Is money coming in or is money going out? When it comes to insurance, I don't know of a way for money to come into my pocket. You need to pay for insurance. But when it comes to haircuts, I know of some people during the pandemic that have actually YouTubed how to cut hair. It's a thought. So again, when it comes to hair care, Or ladies, mani-pedis, stuff like that, grooming. Is money coming in or is money going out? That's a personal choice you have to make, but it doesn't have to be an expense. This could be a skill that you learn that you could actually charge people for, or you could save money by learning how to do it yourself. Other grooming and hygiene. Let's go down to step 26. Everyone is different, but on average, let's say about $25 a month for your shampoo, your conditioner, guys, if you put shaving cream, all of those grooming essentials that keep us all our most handsome or our most beautiful. That's the average that we're going to use. And then there's one more that we're going to put here, and that's the cost of a gym membership. The national average for gym memberships is $58 a month. I'm gonna put 0, and I'll tell you why. When I was in college, I couldn't afford this. And I wanted to stay physically fit because taking care of your health is also an investment in your future. Keeping a strong, healthy body is investing in yourself. The reason I'm gonna put 0 is because when I was 22, I couldn't afford a gym membership. And so what I did was I got a job at the gym, and actually they paid me. Okay, because I got a side job there. So again, thinking, is money going out or is money coming in? You can pay for a gym membership, and if you do, we're gonna go with the figure of $58 a month. But also remember that there's local parks with fitness trails, all kinds of outdoor fitness equipment. There's all types of YouTube videos for you to exercise at home, or you could even maybe get a side job at your local gym and have them pay you, and then they're paying you to stay healthy. I remember when I figured that out, I thought I was the smartest person in the whole world. And so now the total cost of our health is $557 a month. I know also when it comes to insurance, there are some ways to save money, but we're going to go with the national averages for the purposes of the simulation. Wrapping up week 5, let me explain your journal topic. Your journal topic says phenomenal work. I feel like Confucius, you will live a long and healthy life. The journal reflection topic for week 5 is when you look at overall spending, which categories did you spend the most and least on? And what they mean by categories is this: did you spend the most on savings? Did you spend the most on housing? Did you spend the most on transportation, food, or health? And I see a typo here, I will fix that. Which category did you spend the most on? And I'm looking at mine. I spent the most on savings. Interesting. Your budget's going to look different though, because remember, I'm just giving a model and kind of demonstrating. Yours is going to look really unique. Remember, I got really aggressive on my investment account because remember, in this simulation, I'm 22 and I'm taking advantage of compound interest and time being on my side. You may or may not have put this large of a percentage into savings, but the journal topic is to ask you to look at the big categories and decide and look which one did you spend the most in, and which one did you spend the least on, and does that surprise you? And now I'm going to quickly see if there are any questions and move to week 6. Are there any questions before I move on? Excellent, looks good. All right, so let's go on to week 6. And let's talk about your loans and your discretionary spending. This is servicing your student loan debt. Remember, in this simulation, you're 22. You have finished your post-secondary. You've heard from 5 amazing panelists who talk to you about the value of earning college credit in high school. And so let me ask our panelists really quickly, because a lot of you are right around the age of 22. Knowing that you took advantage of dual credit and AP courses, and I see we still have Bianca, Mireya, Leo, and Frank that are still on, would you say that you owe in student loan debts in the area of 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, or 50,000. What do you think? And you may not want to give us your own personal story, but if you're comfortable sharing, what do you think your student loan debt looks like right now? Is anyone comfortable sharing that? Put you on the spot. Sorry about that.
I personally, I just on my second semester at UTRGV and was only able to obtain, I believe, to cover just one semester in scholarships. So for this semester, I did have to take out a loan. So right now I am $5,000.
Okay. So you would be about half of this category right here. If so, you're at about 5,000. And Bianca, Mireya, how does that sound? Does that sound realistic, knowing that you took advantage of dual coursework and that you took advantage of AP courses, and so you had a head start? When you get your degree, when you get your post-secondary degree, what do you think is going to be your student loan debt, your student loan amount?
So I actually was very fortunate that I didn't have to take out student loans.
Okay.
My parents paid out of pocket for me and my siblings to go to college.
Okay.
But they did that, I will say, through savings. Saving their entire life. They put money aside for our education because they didn't want us to specifically take out student loans, is what they didn't want us to be having to pay back. However, if you are in the position where you do need to take out a student loan, it is very normal to have these amounts. I will say I have a couple of friends who did have to take out loans. And I believe one of my friends, she's around the 10,000 to 20,000 range, but she does pay every month a little portion of that student loan so that she can continue to reduce how much she needs and doesn't accrue interest and have to pay more than she takes out.
So here's what I'm going to do based on what I'm hearing from our interns for student loans. I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to say that our audience members are going to take advantage of dual credit courses and AP courses, and let's say graduate college with hopefully $10,000 in debt or less, hopefully less. And the corresponding monthly payment on that would be $115 a month. And so I'm going to be very optimistic that being in 9th grade, you all can sign up for all kinds of dual courses and take advantage of the great examples set for you today by the interns. And so now look at what our spreadsheet's been doing. It's kind of been calculating our balance all along. Guess what? I have $500 a month left over to spend on fun stuff. And the point I want to make about step 30, discretionary spending, notice I put a Starbucks cup here. This is where we pay for fun stuff. Movies, going out, Starbucks, new clothes, all the things for fun, concerts, all those fun things. This is our monthly budget. Notice that right now, the way my budget stands, I've got about $550 a month left over. So if I budget $500 a month for fun stuff, and this is up to you students, this is where you decide how much money a month can be for fun. I want to point something out, that this was the last thing we budgeted. And if you want to have a chance at becoming a millionaire, here's the big secret. What a lot of people do that are very young is they do this part first. They get what they want, and then they put saving and investing at the end. And by flipping those two things, by putting saving and investing first and taking care of your budget and putting the fun stuff at the end, you are on the path. You are definitely on the path to building financial stability and building up wealth for yourself. Again, this can be any amount you want to put, but you want it to be what you can afford. So let's talk about the journal topic for week 6. Congratulations. You have completed a realistic budget that could reflect your future lifestyle. Here's your final journal topic. Does your budget end with a surplus or a deficit? A surplus means you have money left over. A deficit means that you're short. You don't have enough. You're in the negatives. So what decisions led to that? And if you have a deficit, could you go back up and adjust your spending so that you don't come out with a deficit? So this is your final thing to think about. Do you have a surplus or a deficit? What decisions led to that? And is there any way that you could go back and review your budget to balance it out? So last topic before we say goodbye for today, a friendly reminder that at the conclusion of today's webinar, the competition kicks off. I want to direct your attention towards the competition guidelines. You'll notice some familiar faces in the instructional video. Our friends, the panelists today, helped us with the video regarding the competition. I do want each of you, along with your sponsors, to read the competition guidelines. I want every single student, both live and on demand, to complete a project, turn it into your sponsor, and conduct a little campus competition. The winning project from each campus will be submitted to me, and I will have a team of financial professionals, bankers from our area, to judge the projects that are submitted. The guidelines are here. And so please read through these guidelines with your sponsor. Check out the little video regarding the competition. But once today's webinar concludes, you can get your projects ready, submit to your sponsors, and sponsors, all of the information is there on the competition guidelines for your use. There is one final page just to make you aware. It's called the resource library. And if you would like any additional resources regarding any of the topics that have been covered in this webinar series, we do have some live links here provided by the Deep South Texas Financial Literacy Alliance, and you can utilize those extra resources to get more information regarding all of the topics that have been covered. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye to all of you temporarily. It's not goodbye, it's so long. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to our 5 of the 6 webinars. I want to wish all of you the very best. And I really want to give you my best wishes that this budget that you've created becomes reality. I know you've done it as a simulation, but this could actually become your real life. And if there's one big thing you take away, remember it all started with getting a really good job and earning money. And that really good job comes with having a really good education. And I know it's really tough now with the pandemic and the remote learning and the hybrid learning and then the in-person, it's down to social distancing. I know it's hard. Please know that we're here to support you. We've got your back. Please dig in, keep the faith. The pandemic is going to be ending at some point, and you're going to come out super strong, super resilient, full of grit, determination. And it all starts with this great education that you're going to have so that you can get that great job and start making this simulation become your real life. I'll be seeing you all soon, hopefully in person. And when you see me, remember, I may not know you that well because we've been remote for so long, but you may be familiar with my face. Please walk up to me, introduce yourself. I would love to have a great conversation with you. The website is there for your assistance. Sponsors, reach out to me with any questions about the competition. I do see one more item in the chat. I see a big thank you. All right, so thanks again to all of the panelists. Also my team members, Claudia, Lee, Caleb, thank you so much for all of your assistance. And we will stop recording. Say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day and a great weekend.